First Watch Now.
What you need to know from the Cochise County Sheriff's Office.
Hosted by Cochise County Public Information Officers Carol Kappas and Grady Butler.
First Watch on 92.3 KWCD.
And it's brought to you by Sulphur Springs Valley Electric Cooperative, giving you an inside look into your sheriff's office. I'm Grady Butler, and with me is Carol Kappas, Public Information Officer with the Sheriff's Office, and Sheriff Mark Daniels. Good morning.
Good morning, Cochise County.
Hello, everyone.
It's almost Christmas. This is going just a little bit too quick.
Isn't it? It seems like, well, once Thanksgiving hits, it's just like a speed game to get to Christmas, and everybody's so busy, shopping, family, and Christmas events, holiday events, parties. I was at a party last Friday night, and then parades last weekend, and stocking stuffers. Just a lot going on.
And there's more parades that start tomorrow, and those are going to be in Wilcox, Huachuca City, and Tombstone.
Yes, and all the parades in Cochise County, we had a big discussion about this, are nighttime except for Palominas, which I was in last Saturday. Well-attended parade, always is. And Huachuca City tomorrow at 10 o'clock. So if you want to see people in a parade, not just the lights, Huachuca City, 10 o'clock tomorrow. I believe it's over by the City Hall.
Yes, and Wave. It's going to go down Gonzales Boulevard, so that's always kind of a really nice thing to have happen. You know, you have it right there next to the highway, so you can see it even if you're driving by.
It's true. It's like a drive-by parade.
But pay attention where you're driving.
Yeah, of course. Look forward. But, yeah, so and then tomorrow night at 6 p.m. is Wilcox, and then Tombstone, I think, is 6 p.m. tomorrow night, too. Right?
It is. So Tombstone, 5 o'clock, and Wilcox is at 6 o'clock.
Okay. So, yeah, 2 more parades left before the holiday season kicks in here. I mean, when I say kicks in, that's the last of them before the Christmas gets here.
And you had another Christmas event that you were working on, and it's going to still culminate on December 23rd for Stocking Stuffers. Yeah,
Stocking Stuffers is a Just Kids, Inc. San Pedro Kiwanis event where the community rallies around with Kiwanis, and they buy kids, shoes, clothes, diapers for kids, whatever the needs are. And this is a program through the schools, the local schools around this corner of the county here, from Palominas to Tombstone, all over Whetstone, Sierra Vista. And then community members actually shop for the kids, or the San Pedro Kiwanis raises funds to do this. And I think this year there are between 600-700 kids that they're going to service. I know Jody Klein's been on this show talking about it, but we had our first wrapping day last Sunday at the VFW, and then follow-up day yesterday. So again, and then December 23rd, we actually, community groups along with the Sheriff's Office, we actually deliver those gifts to the kids throughout Cochise County to make sure those kids are dressed. And normalcy is everything. How do we keep these kids in a normal level? So this is a really special program by Just Kids Inc. and San Pedro Kiwanis.
And then Shop with a Cop was last week in Benson, and they're having one tomorrow in Douglas.
Right, and big shout out to the committee on that one. KK, we call her, from our evidence property here at the Sheriff's Office. She coordinates that. We had 40-some officers from state, local, and federal come out last week in Benson, take all these kids shopping. Great event. It just really was. They do an amazing job. And then tomorrow's a new one we're kicking off with Douglas. So we have all the agencies, state, local, and federal again. They're going to service kids in Douglas and the surrounding areas, Alfredo, Double Adobe, McNeil, those places, to help kids in need. And it's an exciting time to bring cops and kids together. And so that's tomorrow morning at 6 in the morning. We're going to kick that off. And we give out a bike. Nikki and I give out a bike to one of the kids during a little drawing at the end. And then thanks to Walmart in Benson, and thanks to Walmart in Douglas for stepping up and helping us do that. And I think Shop with a Cop for Sierra Vista is Sunday. Is it Sunday?
I believe it is.
I do too. And I just talked to the PD on that the other day. I think it's Sunday they're doing there. It's not positive, but I'm pretty sure it's Sunday. And again, these are all law enforcement giving back to local kids.
And so the one for Douglas too, you said it's a newer one. I think years and years and years ago they had something similar, but Jesus Davidson, one of our people, actually is instrumental in getting that kicked up on that side of the county.
He did, and this is when we saw the need, and so he saw. This is part of the cultural team. When I say I'm proud to be a sheriff in this county, I truly mean that, because we have pride and ownership with our men and women that work here, and they took the initiative to say, hey, we can do better. They did a food drive, food cook-off here about 3 months ago, if people remember, and that funds raised over $7,000 went to the Douglas Food Bank, and also the Pierce food bank out by Sunsites. So again, giving back to the community. They don't have to do this, but they did it. And now they're doing the Shop with a Cop down there. And again, Zeus Davison is one of our deputies. We got Veronica, my assistant, Celine, our business manager, and so many others that are stepping up to make this happen. So kudos to all of them. And we're going down there tomorrow. We're going to embrace those kids, embrace that moment, embrace that time, because it's special to these kids.
And you were out at a party last night, too, for Search and Rescue.
Yeah, Search and Rescue had their annual Christmas party out at the it's a volunteer where they do communications called RACES, Radio Amateurs Communication. It goes on, folks. But they had it out there on Molson Road last night, and there was probably about 50, 60 people showed up. And again, that's my opportunity and their opportunity to come together. Special people come together for a special time of the year, and thanks to Search and Rescue and all they do to pay that forward to help others in need. So thank you, Search and Rescue.
And last Friday, you were on Fort Huachuca at Greeley Hall.
We did. There was a special occasion last Friday, well attended in front of Greeley Hall. They don't call it, well, they do call it Greeley Hall, but there's a new name for it, Network Communication or something. But either way, it was to honor CW5 Albert Morrison. Shiloh Morrison, she was a retired colonel. That was her husband. He retired after, like I said, CW5 retired. I believe he had 28 years, and don't quote me on the years. But and Shiloh retired, like I said, as a colonel. He was working for the government contract and passed away during COVID. And he's out of state working. And so they honored one of the big conference rooms at Greeley Hall on his behalf. Well attended. Just a very nice event in honor of Albert. I knew him personally. I know him and Shiloh and their kids. And so God bless them all. I mean, and rest in peace for Albert. I mean, he's just a good man. That we lost a good one in this community. So nice dedication by the military for him.
And moving on to something that broke again yesterday, and we want to probably wrap this all in one bundle, is the border, and then also the National Guard on the border. So you had several conversations, and you wanted to talk about that.
Well, the border's a hot topic, no doubt about it. And many see me on the media talking about it. And it's not about personalities. Please, when I speak on it, it's not about personalities, likes and dislikes. We all have those, but that's not what I'm addressing. I'm addressing public safety, not political safety, but public safety on this border. Right now, it's not working. You look at the non-political stats, record number 12,000 in a day or whatever it was, 17,000. I mean, we're setting records everywhere we go. I mean, just thousands coming across. And that's unsustainable, number one. Number two, it's not manageable. So when they say the border is effectively secured, well, I argue that all day. But the impact to the citizens in Cochise County, whether it be drugs, and I know on your radio just a few minutes ago, Grady, they just had a thing where illicit drugs were seized up on the highway here, and on. We're seeing the poison coming across our border. We're seeing people trafficked. We're seeing tragedies. We're seeing death. I mean, you name it, we're seeing it. And what I don't hear, and I'm just going to say it's crickets out of Washington, D.C. to address this. And as long as this continues, it's not going to get better for communities, not just Cochise, but beyond. So America's sheriffs, at the national level, western states, southwest border, major counties, we're pushing every button with the White House. We've had several conversations with the White House. We're asking to meet with this president to address our communities with him directly. I sent an email out last night saying, hey, where are we at with this? And so we'll find out what they respond back today. But we have to push this. This is what elected leaders do, is step up and fix things that are broken. Whether I broke them or not, it's irrelevant. We did not break it here. We're doing good things here. But we have an obligation to challenge back when something's broke. I've asked Governor Hobbs for National Guard return to the border to assist us in our jail especially. That is a collective depository, not saying that in a negative way, for state, local, and federal to address inmates. So we need some help down there. Everybody knows our jail. I mean, we're a capacity population there. We need to get some help. So I know initially the government came out Monday and Tuesday, said, no, I'm not going to send National Guard. I readdressed with the governor's office, and then I got called yesterday saying that's back on the table. So we will see. They're looking for a strategic, comprehensive plan. I hope she doesn't disappoint, because we could use that resource down here. Because we can play blame game all day and say it's not our problem, it's the federal government problems, and then we have more tragedies develop with our citizens here. I mean, and that's what this is all about.
And one of the things we're doing here in our community is Operation Safe Streets 2, and that's continuing, and it's still doing some good. And that's where you've always said you can't do nothing, so you have to do something, and that's Operation Safe Streets 2.
It is, and that's some of the operations that we put forward is to deter this criminal behavior. If we can prevent it, bring awareness to it, keep people from getting involved in it, and then those that refuse the awareness and prevention part, guess what? We have a surprise for you, and that's, you're going to go to jail. And we're very strict on that, thanks to Brian McIntyre, our county attorney, the state, local, federal law enforcement working together. So it's a collective effort, and our mayors. Our mayors are with this, unified with this, 100% mayors in the county. And so, again, we're doing something in Cochise County that I think is pretty special in that aspect. But, again, is it stopping it? It's got better. I'm telling you, our intel, we're seeing a difference, but it's still coming. And if we don't, I said this on a media report this week, we're holding back the floodgates. We walk away from those floodgates and they open up, it's going to be hard to close them ever again. And we're trying to make sure those floodgates don't open up.
And on another topic, we had one of our past employees pass away. And so you wanted to, give a condolence to the family.
Right. Mike Rafferty. Mike was a sergeant with the Sheriff's Department, started his career in Wichita City, and came over to the Sheriff's Department, had 20, actually Wilcox PD too, went to Wichita City, Wilcox, and then to the Sheriff's Department. Had a total of 28 years, majority of his time with the Cochise County Sheriff's Office. Mike and I worked the streets together back in the 80s, all the way up to 2005, I think it was, 2001. He retired, early 2000 he retired. And he used to work with Tom Molina back at Wichita City, so a lot of history with Mike. He passed away here a little over a week ago. I went and saw his wife Jeannie, spent some time with her, and so tough times. I mean, they have a memorial December 9th at his house for a couple hours there. I'm going to be over there, and again, it's enjoy every day, folks. You just never know what's around the corner for you, and embrace those around you, embrace those that love you, and put a smile on your face, because you might not get the opportunity tomorrow to do that. So, Mike, rest in peace, and enjoy the memories and the friendships we had.
Sheriff Daniels, what is your stop of the week?
It's an interesting one this week, and that is, as times continue to be uncertain, as we see throughout the global atmosphere, that you look at our country, and there's so much division and hate right now, but people carry that into traffic stops. And this is what this safety message statement of the stop of the week is about. If you can stop by law enforcement, compliance is a key here. I had two cars come to an intersection. I'm stopped at an intersection, residential neighborhood. First car did a partial California stop. We all know what that means. And I looked at it with, am I going to stop this car? Within the car behind it, who I found out later, it looks like they were related or together. The second car blew right through it. Like there was they made California stop look like nothing. So I spun on it. As I'm turning the lights on, the guy's arms are waving and, upset, dear Lord, you turn the lights on me. And so before I got a chance to even call it out after he was stopped, he gets out of the car and starts yelling at me and using profanity. That's an elderly gentleman. And so I got out of the car, said, listen, I introduced myself, said, calm down. Let me tell you why I'm stopping you, because he's asking me with profanity why I'm stopping him, explaining why you didn't stop at the stop sign. He had a gesture back to me that he runs that 5 or 6 times a day, which I thought was not a good thing to say to a cop. But, hey, I love the honesty. And but he was so emotionally upset and aggressive that there was no dealing with him. In fact, at one point he said, I ought to just deck you. Now, when you tell a cop you're going to deck you, a lot of times you're in handcuffs. And I told him, this man's elderly. I told him, I said, sir, I'd be very careful where you take those words. Because if he said it again, I would have just charged him. And because you can't, and I won't allow that. You're not going to abuse cops, threaten cops, things like that. You lose that, you lose your community. That's always been a strong belief of mine. But I ended up charging him for a couple of things when we could have talked through that. We could have talked to what's going on today, but instead he took it to a level where there was no discretion left. And when we write tickets, this is my philosophy. When I write a ticket to somebody, it's because it was egregious or there's no compliance. So when you behave like that, you've chose to show me there is no compliance, and you tell me that you run through that 5 or 6 times a day. Let me just say this to you. You have no compliance, and the only way you're going to understand that is you get to read your ticket, and then you have consequences to your ticket. So I share that stop with you. But I also want to share another one that we had this weekend. we had an individual in a stolen car. In that car was what, I don't know, semi-automatic, automatic, but it was like a short, looked like a little machine gun. Let me just put it that way. Sitting right next to him. He's wearing body armor. He's on the sex registry. Not saying that, hey, just because he's on sex registry, he's bad. Well, let me rephrase that. But either way, this guy is driving reckless. We get the report. He's driving on all 4 rims. We chase him, along with Border Patrol and some others. He runs off into a community, and we end up capturing him. Now, this is, in my opinion, a dangerous individual. When you're wearing body armor and you have what looks like a machine gun in the car with you, and a stolen vehicle, and I believe that impairment was an issue here too, based on talking to the deputy that was involved in this and charged him. That's a real problem. But I want to give a shout out to the men and women. They're dealing with some real tasking issues right now with people. People just don't want to comply. If you're hearing me today, I get it. We all have rough times. We all have challenges personally and professionally. But don't take it with somebody with a badge. We're just doing our job, and we're here to provide some help. But when you attack us or you put us in harm's way, there's usually not a good outcome for either side. Let me just say it, for either side. And so both harrowing issues, I mean, when it comes to what my deputies dealt with, not so much harrowing when a guy, but if you threaten to hit a cop, in most cases, that person should have been charged on that. I did not charge him for the threatening to kick me or deck me is what he said. But if he would have said it again, yes, he'd been sitting in jail. I don't care how young or old you are. So, again, I share those stories with you because I think they're important as we're into an emotional holiday. It's a holiday season, but people get emotional with it. So this is a hard time for law enforcement, too. So please, please be patient when you see the red and blue lights come on, because usually we stop you to talk to you about something that happened. Sometimes not always bad. Maybe we thought you saw something. But please, if you come off bad, it's not going to be a good situation. Another reason you might see red and blues behind you is if you don't have your headlights on in the dark. Yes. Our times have changed. It gets dark early. 5:30, it's getting dark. Well, Tombstone's doing their parade at 5. That tells you it's got to be dark. But people are so accustomed, because we're coming through the season change, and we don't change clocks here, that they don't turn their headlights on. It's illegal to drive from sundown to sun up without headlights on. That doesn't mean you drive with your parking lights or driving lights on. You got to drive with your headlights. There's a big difference. I see people, I got my parking lights on. That means park, not drive. So again, it goes back to, we're seeing a lot of that. Please turn your headlights on, folks. Even in conditions where the weather or conditions dictate that the visibility has been reduced, law states reasonably you have to turn your headlights on. That's not discretion either. And a storm, turn your headlights on. You can be charged because you don't have your headlights on during a storm if visibility's been reduced. A lot of people don't realize that either. But the biggest question I'm saying is today, or the statement I'm sharing with everybody, is when the sun goes down or it's cloudy and it's dark, you got to turn your headlights on. You got to have visibility. And people at darker color cars that are hard to see, you're more at risk. Turn your headlights on. And I've stopped 2 or 3 in the last week. So, well, Sheriff Daniels, so thank you for coming and talking to us today. Thank you, everybody. Have a safe week. And Grady, Carol, take care. Thanks for all you do. And Carol, who do we have coming in next?
We have Whetstone Fire Chief Sam Foster.
First Watch on KWCD Country. It's brought to you by Sulphur Springs Valley Electric Cooperative.
Hosted by Public Information Officer Carol Kappas and Grady Butler.
On 92.3 KWCD.
And it's brought to you by Sulphur Springs Valley Electric Cooperative. And in the studio with me now, we've got Whetstone Fire Chief. Hi, good morning.
Morning, how you doing?
Good. Introduce yourself to the folks.
So I'm Chief Foster from Whetstone Fire District. I've been with Whetstone for 15 years, been the fire chief for about 3 years now.
And you've got a really cool event, and it's happening tomorrow. It's a pancake breakfast. You had me at food, so tell us about it.
Yeah, that's usually how we get them. So tomorrow, 7 to 11, basically we're just hosting a big breakfast. Everybody can come in. It's $10 a plate. Firefighters are going to be in there. They're going to cook up breakfast with pancakes, sausage, eggs. We put this on every year. A lot of people will probably remember it. We have a lot of return customers, so anybody that hasn't got a chance to get out there and try it, it's a great opportunity.
And we're going to give you guys directions on how to get there in just a minute. But this is also in conjunction with a toy and food drive.
Correct. All the money that we raise during the pancake breakfast goes towards our food and toy drive. Another one of the things we run every year. We get a lot of people that come in and donate. And what we're actually not seeing a lot of this year is a lot of people applying for it. So if anybody is out there or knows anybody with any families that may need help this holiday season with food or toys or anything, have them come down to our station. It's at 2422 North Firehouse Lane. Fill out an application. The only thing they need to bring in is proof of residency within the district. So driver's license with their address on it, or a phone bill, or a water bill, or anything with their address on it, really.
And what's your district? Kind of give us some boundaries.
So to the north there, if you go to, I think it's probably mile marker about 303, right there where the Border Patrol checkpoint is, if anybody works better with landmarks.
There you go.
From there is our north border, San Pedro River to the east, the Santa Cruz County line to the west, and Bochuca City's city boundary to the south.
Okay, excellent. So you guys are looking for food and toys. Is there any kind of specific thing you're looking for in those areas?
For food, as long as it's non-perishable, unopened, and unexpired.
Okay. And then for toys?
For toys, unopened toys.
Okay, cool,
So
excellent.
not wrapped. Don't need to wrap them or put gift bags on them or anything like that. Just as long as the boxes and packages are unopened.
And you can drop all of that off at your fire station.
Mm-hmm.
All right,
we do
so-
take monetary donations as well, too.
Yes, excellent.
All of that money that we come in and bring, we use that to fill any of the gaps. All of it gets put towards the drive.
Okay, so invite everybody out to your breakfast and your toy and food drive one more time.
And that's going to be at 2422 North Firehouse Lane, north of the gas station, the Mustang Mountain gas station there in Whetstone. And same location for the pancake breakfast and for coming in, filling out apps, dropping off toys, any of that. You can also call us. Our phone number is 520-456-1717.
All right, well, we thank you for coming and talking to us today.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for having me.
First Watch on KWCD Country. It's brought to you by Sulphur Springs Valley Electric Cooperative.
It's First Watch Now
Hosted by Public Information Officer Carol Kappas and Grady Butler.
on 92.3 KWCD.
And it's brought to you by Sulphur Springs Valley Electric Cooperative. And in the studio now, we've got the Sierra Vista Police Department to talk about some driving things that are going on during the holiday season. Hi, what's your name?
I'm Sergeant Paul Young, Service Police Department.
All right, well, let's before we get to the holiday season coming up, let's take it back a month to your aggressive driving campaign that happened in November. Tell us about that.
Right. In November, we responded to several citizen calls to reporting aggressive driving in different parts of the city, and we settled in the area of golf links between Coronado and 7th Street. We conducted a detail, and we monitored speed on that road, and overall the average speed was about 30 miles per hour for the drivers on that road in that marked 25 mile an hour zone. However, there were some outliers that ended up getting citations. The highest speed was 45 in the 25 mile an hour zone, which is a little excessive for a residential neighborhood in the city. In total, I think we issued 8 citations, which is, I think, overall for the month, it's not bad.
And do you guys do these kind of campaigns based on public input, or is it just something you see happening? How do you find those?
That's exactly correct. Both. Mostly, we respond to citizen calls for service. They can either use the city's website and email to send us information, or they'll call into our dispatch center, and we look at those complaints for driving, and we make a determination each month to pick an area to do a little extra enforcement to keep everybody safe on the road.
And of course, coming up, we've got the Christmas season, lots of holiday parties, and the DUI task force is going to be out and about.
Yep. The Southeastern Arizona GOHS sponsored task force will be out. We're all month, actually. Every weekend this month in December, we'll have extra officers out on the road enforcing our DUI statutes, as well as some of those aggressive and dangerous violations that have been known to cause accidents. Excessive speed, failing to yield, and in the hopes that the more people out there will create, more awareness, and less people will be wanting to get out there drinking and driving during this season.
And there's so many other ways to get from where you're going. So there's Ubers, there's Lyft, there's a friend, a designated driver. Designated
Absolutely.
drivers are awesome.
Yeah, and we're lucky to have quite a few taxi services locally here in town, and I'll tell you this. Service to police department is the last thing we want to do is have someone drive when they couldn't get a ride. If all else fails, give us a call. We will find something for you, or we'll come get you ourselves if last-ditch effort.
So the DUI task force is going to be out every weekend through probably into the new year. So
right, we'll culminate the month with a large-scale detail on New Year's Eve, December 31st. We'll have several officers out that night, all the way through the night, enforcing DUI laws.
And we always hear, don't drink and drive. It's blasted everywhere, especially this time of year. But somehow people still decide to get behind the wheel. Just, what you're going to do that night. Make decisions before you get there. That way you don't have to drink and drive.
Yes, sir.
All right. Well, we thank you for coming and talking to us today.
Thank you, sir.
Also in the studio, we've got the Sierra Vista Fire Department. They've got their toy drive going on right now. And I believe you've got one more live broadcast on the radio station coming up next week as well.
We do. So Wednesday, we'll be in the H. Schlotchke's parking lot from 4 to 6 to be able to talk with you guys and collect more donations.
All right. We've got Michelle Knodel here. So tell us what you're looking for in donations.
So what we're looking for is toys, new unwrapped toys, cash donations, and gift cards, mainly for the ages from 0 to 12 years old.
And do you have holes right now where you're trying to fill that? It's usually like the really young kids.
Yeah, it's always the really young kids because they're just the little babies. And then the 11, 12-year-olds, they're a little bit harder to shop for.
And the gift cards are always awesome.
Yep, they are. We can either give them directly to the kids, depending on what it is, or we take them and we shop locally to be able to fill those gaps that we need.
And that's why you need the cash donation.
It is. It's wonderful.
Okay, so you guys are looking for 0 to 12-year-old toys and cash for donations. But let's also talk about the registration. Is that complete now?
We have one more day. So that's today, 8:30 to 12:30 over at Station 3, which is 675 Julio Cesar, right next to the DMV. And then you're able to bring in your paperwork, and then we'll get you signed up and ready to go.
What paperwork do they need?
You need a picture ID, a utility bill, or something showing your address within the Sierra Vista, Palominas, Hereford area. And then something to show that the kid is yours, whether it's their birth certificate, DES paperwork, guardianship, something like that.
And that's today. Give us the location one more time.
It's at Station 3, which is 675 Julio Cesar.
And goes till noon?
Just about 12:30-ish.
All right, so make sure you get registered if you can. And then everybody needs to step up and donate. And next Thursday will be, or next Wednesday will be your final live broadcast. But if you can't make it to that, you can donate where?
Any Sierra Vista fire station, we gather those toys and we bring them over so that on our bag and tag day, we have everything gathered up, ready to go.
Okay. Well, thank you for coming and talking to us today about the Firefighters Toy and Food Drive. No, yours is not food.
Ours is just toys.
Gotcha. Just toys. That's what they're looking for. Coming up next, we got the Salvation Army to talk about what they've got going on for the holidays. First Watch on KWCD Country is brought to you by Sulphur Springs Valley Electric Cooperative.
It's First Watch Now.
Hosted by Public Information Officer Carol Kappas and Grady Butler.
On 92.3 KWCD.
And it's brought to you by Sulphur Springs Valley Electric Cooperative. And in the studio, we've got the Salvation Army.
Welcome back, Cochise County.
Good morning, Grady. Good morning, Carol.
You guys always have a lot going on during the holiday season. Tell us what you got.
So, yes, we do. It's a busy fun. And we have all kinds of things going on. Right now, the main thing, I left my bell in the car, but I'll ding-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling. We have our bell ringing going on, and this community is just so fantastic. However, we do need more, some more of your help. There you go, Grady. It's one of the mini bells we gave as gifts last year.
Yes, right.
We would love for you to come out and start a new family tradition or for work, team building. Go on our website, Salvation Army Sierra Vista. I think it's flipped, Sierra Vista Salvation Army. And there's a little heart. It's super easy. There's a little heart on the bottom. Click the heart. That's all the volunteer opportunities that we have. But right there at the top is bell ringing. And you click on that. You pick what spot you want, where you want to go, and how long you want to go. Now, friends, it's only 2-hour slots. You could go 4 hours. You can do 6 hours. You could even do 8 hours if you want. But if you're not real sure, It's 2-hour slots, and some of our friends out there that might be a little bit older or also have some handicaps, we do allow chairs. So if you can't stand that long, that's okay. Bring a chair. Just don't leave the chair. So because we're not responsible for it. But bring a chair. Bring a friend. It's always fun. Sing and dance and welcome the customers in and just raise money for Salvation Army here in Sierra Vista. That's one thing I want to make clear. Every dime and every penny that is put in our kettles remains here in Sierra Vista. Nothing goes outside of Sierra Vista.
And this is your biggest fundraiser. This is your fundraiser for the whole year.
This is the main, yeah. We have a couple others, but nothing to the capacity of this fundraiser. This fundraiser decides our budget. You know, it keeps our lights on. If we don't hit our budget, then our projected, then we have to start cutting some programs and start doing things that we really love to do. Like for Christmas this year, we're going to be open. So we'll be open on Christmas Day for all of our friends that don't have anybody. And so we've gone out and we've bought some gifts and some different things for to just give them, the love of Jesus on Jesus's day.
And so one of the other things that you do programs to give back to the community is the Angel Tree. And there's been some confusion on past years how it works and now how it works. So I wanted to have the opportunity to explain that project.
Okay, great. I'm really glad, Carol, that you brought that up. And you're right. There has been some backlash. Sometimes people don't like change or don't fully understand why the change is. So you're right. Before we had a number on the ticket, and there were clothes on the ticket, and the requests of the kids. Each of the tickets that are out there are a kid, and those were the requests that they have. But we give the parents also the opportunity. We open up our dining room to our chapel, and we call it a Toy and Joy, where the parents come in and they're able to get even more gifts or a bigger gift. So say their kid really needs a bike, but they didn't think that they could put a bike on that list. Well, we're very blessed with SSVEC. They give us bikes every year. So far this year, we've already received about 12 bikes. So that has been amazing, to where we can help these kids that have to ride to school. And but if you get a bike, you're not going to get 3 other items, because that's a very large gift. Or there's certain other gifts like the VTech and the Leapfrogs that cost almost $100. Well, you're not going to get a whole bunch of other gifts that go with that. However, when you get some smaller gifts, we try to be very fair. We try to be, and every kid gets at least 2 gifts, as well as stocking stuffers, wrapping paper. We give now a full dinner, because no other agency does Christmas dinner. We were very shocked that there's Thanksgiving, there's so much, on the food for Thanksgiving, that when it comes to Christmas dinner, some of these families, they can't afford that hammer turkey. And so we've worked it out with where we can do a full Christmas box as well as a turkey or a chicken to go home with these families.
And so how many families do you think that you serve through that program?
So last year we did just over 200. We are over 200 already. We are done doing sign-ups for Angel Tree. However, we have a wait list. And last year, I want to say we had like 40, close to 40 on our wait list. So we started calling them about 11:30 and saying, okay, please come. Now, they're not going to get that VTech or a bike, because we're at the end. But they will get enough toys for their kids, so their kids don't have nothing under the tree. Another thing is we have also upped the age group. So I want to say we're one of the very few agencies that are doing, including in Salvation Army or around the territory, to age 14. We got here in COVID, so that was our first Christmas, and we were like that. We were still doing just the red bag. So the next year, still coming out of COVID, we were like, you know what? These teenagers have been babysitting their brothers and sisters, making their breakfast and making their lunch and even making their dinner, and having to homeschool them, and the parents are still barely able to make ends meet. So the teenagers, when they sit down under the Christmas tree, the parents are like, I'm sorry, Salvation Army doesn't do teens. And so they've done double duty all year and received nothing. So we started, okay, work on getting gift cards, which we're really low on gift cards. So if you've got gift cards laying around and you just and you haven't used them in a long time, or if your heart is filled with serving these teens, we could really use some gift cards. We like to give the $25 gift cards, but we'll take whatever and mix them up. And we get makeup, hair supplies, art supplies, different things that teens, would love and use. Controllers, new controllers for their Xboxes and PlayStations, and it just depends on what comes in. But those are what we put onto the Angel Tree tags, and we also serve Mary's Mission. I just got the list yesterday, and so I'll be going and shopping and getting all of the kids in the boys and the girls' house Angel Tree gifts.
So you guys are super, super busy. So you said your signups are over, but if people want to donate, where do they get that? Where do they take that stuff? How do they donate?
They bring it to the Salvation Army, which is located on 180 Wilcox. You can also call where our hours are from 9 to 1. However, it is Christmas, so a lot of us are there a lot later. Last night, I think, was my earliest night, picking up a load of stuff at Dollar Tree. I got home about 7, but the rest of the week, I've been home about 9. So there are people there, and somebody has access to the phone at all times. If you're near the area and want to know if someone's in the building and you want to drop off gifts or gift cards, that would be so super duper fantastic. Our phone number there is 520-459-8411. And also, if you have a hard time in regarding to our bell ringing online, because it's a process, you got to go all the way through to the end, please call that number I just gave and ask for either Eva McElroy or Captain Ty Bays. They are our kettle coordinators. And go have some fun. We'll be out on Saturday at Hobby Lobby, and my husband and I are doing the Commissioner Challenge. So if you'd like to come help pat our kettle to win up against the commissioner, we would absolutely love that. We will be out there from, I think, 1 to 4 or 2 to 5. He's in charge of that part. I just go where he tells me to sometimes.
All right, well, give us your address and phone number one more time.
Okay, so our address is 180 Wilcox, and in Sierra Vista. It's right by Cox Communication, and just up from SSVEC if you're coming from the station here. Also, our phone number is area code 520-459-8411.
Well, thanks for coming and talking to us today. We appreciate everything that the Salvation Army does for our community. First Watch on KWCD Country. It's brought to you by Sulphur Springs Valley Electric Cooperative.
You've
You've been listening to First Watch with the Cochise County Sheriff's Office.
Hosted by Cochise County Public Information Officers Carol Kappas and Grady Butler.
Join us again next Friday morning, 7 to 8 a.m.
First Watch.
What you need to know from the Cochise County Sheriff's Office.
Only on 9.